Disney parks are famous for immersive storytelling. People talk about the rides, the architecture, the music, the food, but there's one major storytelling tool hiding in plain sight that most guests never notice: the plants. Because the landscaping at Disney parks isn't random. Every tree, every flower bed, every pathway planting is chosen on purpose. And once you notice it, you can't unsee it. I'm Kelsey from Sprouts and Stories, a home gardener who loves examining how plants show up in storytelling, from video games to theme parks to our own backyards. And one of the best examples of storytelling through horticulture might actually be in Epcot, because the Disney horticulture team pulls off an incredible trick. They make you feel like you've traveled across the globe while you're still standing in the exact same Florida climate. They do this through three main tools that home gardeners can use in their own garden as well: plant shape, color theory, and real historic garden influences.
For example, Norway is over here, so you can see behind me you've got more alpine-y like trees and things like that. But Mexico, Mexico is over here, and so you can see right in the middle this transition from those alpine-y like Norway, different trees and shrubs and things like that, over to these tropical Mexican plants, or Mexican-inspired plants, I should say. They achieve this alpine-like look while being in a really hot climate versus the tropical plants that are better fitting for this climate. So I think it's also really cool how Disney horticulture picks plants that looks alpine-y or Nordic without it actually being a plant that wouldn't be able to live here in Orlando, Florida.
Another tool that Disney uses is plant color, and it plays a huge role in how each pavilion feels. For example, Morocco uses warm colors like yellows and oranges. Meanwhile, Norway leans towards cooler palettes like blues and purples. Elsa has ice powers. Anna does not. Anna's just warm and wonderful. On the Elsa side, there's all this Dusty Miller for the frozen area, and then when you look at Anna, there's only a little bit of the Dusty Miller that makes it look frozen. So Elsa has these whites and blues to look frozen, where you have all of these different vibrant colors for Anna. Color scheme usage is not just used to give nods to characters or climate, but also culturally significant colors, like the use of red in the China Pavilion. Disney's designers also draw from real historic garden styles. So let's take a look at this.
In the France Pavilion, and behind me there is a garden that is inspired by Versailles. It's got fleur-de-lis in the hedges here when you can see the shape of it. And then also something that is super cool is the flowers over here, these snapdragons. The color scheme is specifically inspired by the perfumeries, which, if we rotate over it this way, are behind me. Something that I really love about Chinese gardens that's represented here is it's meant to feel more natural. You get this balance of water and rocks. You get this winding path feeling. Now we're at the Italy Pavilion in Epcot, and you can see that the gardens changed once again to fit that more Italian garden style. And how you can tell is you can see all these beautiful terracotta pots. This is an orange tree, and it's a nod to all of the different citrus production there is in Sicily, Italy. We are in the UK Pavilion, so what's very cool here is there's two different distinct types of English-inspired gardens. You have the English knot style garden over here, which is when you take a border to create a shape and plant within it, and the idea was that back in the Victorian era, you would be able to see that pattern from an upstairs window. So I really love that it looks down, and this is a kitchen-style garden, so it's got things in here like it's got parsley, it's got Swiss chard, it's got rosemary, it's got all these different things that you would use. There's cabbage as well, so all sorts of things you'd use in your kitchen, and that's juxtaposed right over here to a cottage style garden, whereas that was more of a formal garden. This is informal, and that's kind of that whimsical, it feels lush, it's spreading. For me, it feels like a witchy magical garden. And now we have another icon of UK gardening styles. We have the hedge maze, if we can find our way out.
How the heck is Disney doing all this? Disney horticulturists maintain these landscapes every single day. Area gardeners are responsible for balancing visual impact, plant health, and staying true to the pavilion's theme when they're designing their beautiful container plantings. For example, France follows a more formal garden style with pastel colors and structured plantings. So even if there's a tropical plant that might grow well in Florida, it's not going to be used in the French pavilion if it's going to break the visual language of that garden. In other words, the folks who are working every day in the theme parks are working to make sure that the plants still match the story. Once you start noticing these details, it completely changes how you see Disney parks, because the plants aren't just decoration, they're part of a storytelling system. And behind every one of these gardens is a team of horticulturists making sure that the story stays alive every single day. If you like looking at plants through the lens of storytelling, whether it's theme parks, video games, real gardens, that's exactly what my channel explores. So subscribe if that sounds like your kind of garden adventure, and next time you visit Epcot, take a closer look at those plants. You might realize they're telling the story.